All right, here we are, Resident Evil 2 remake panel. We're moving along and we're getting through these panels fast. They're
Yeah.
turning out great. Thank you everybody who's tuning in, and thank you to everyone who's been here throughout the day watching all the different panels. Thank you to the guests that are joining us today and to the team. I want to introduce our guest. We have David Vincent. He's in my top left over there.
Hello.
Which David is in actually a few entries for Resident Evil. He's done Revelations. He was Raymond, the bad guy.
Yes.
And then I forget who is the what was the name of the character from Damnation? I keep
Buddy.
forgetting. Buddy?
Yeah, Buddy. I was Buddy from Damnation. I
Mhm.
did all the motion capture for him.
Yep. And then
Also
in
voices too,
we
so
just
can't remember what I
put two and two together. In remake 2, you're Ben.
did. Yes.
So
I
yeah,
know Luigi.
yep. So he's done quite a few things, as well as a bunch of mocap and behind the scenes voices, extra stuff like that. And of course, we know Jolene. Jolene is the Ada. In two different versions now from Damnation as well. So we almost have a Damnation panel. And then we got Chris, who's the awesome Marvin. Excellent,
Yep.
excellent version of Marvin in these two games. I love what they did with this character. Really gave him a lot more, made him more sympathetic at the same time and impactful. I feel like he really, really left a mark in these games. And the fact that you're in both of them is pretty awesome. 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a great journey with Marvin. Yeah, very happy to be here with you.
Mhm. And this is the first time you've been on the row as well. You and David are both brand new to this, which, like I said, we will try and do a one-on-one later date so we can sit down and actually get into your characters and your experience working with Resident Evil and Capcom and all that. But for now, we want to lead into the crowd, to our chat, and get as many questions as we can. So you guys start dropping your questions so we can go through. And I guess we'll just jump right into it. I'm going to start this off with a message from Nick Apostolides. He couldn't be here. He really wanted to. He was on the list. But, you know, he's on a show. If you've seen the show The Fixers, they're all working on a project in a remote location, so he can't really get away to come do this. But he did record a message, so I'm going to go ahead and play that now.
Chew on that, you overgrown son of a bitch. Hey, what's up, guys? Nick Apostolides here, aka Leon Kennedy, reporting for duty, here to share a message of positivity. Now, look, I really, truly, honestly wish that I could be there today, but I can't be because I'm out of state on a really cool building community project, and by that I mean I'm killing zombies all around the world, of course. Now, seriously, guys, I really want to be there. To the ROE team, all of you guys, thank you for what you do. From way back in the day, you were the first people that reached out to me for an interview. First interview I ever gave. You've been a beacon of support since day one. And not only for me, but for the whole community. When I got involved with the fan base over a year ago, and I saw the online presence that was going on, I realized that it's content creators like you and streamers abound that really make the difference. You all are the creative connective tissue in the community, and it's your vocalization of your passion that makes these games and sequels happen. It makes these franchises what they are today, and it tells developers like Capcom that you want more. So I don't care how small or how big your channel is, whatever you do, just keep on doing it because it's working, okay? I mean, look, I'm just a fan that got lucky like you, right? I'm physically, like, literally dying because I can't be there with my fellow RE2 cast, the RE3 cast, who I've been very fortunate to befriend this year, and all of the RE cast that I have not even met yet, but I want to because I've been a diehard fan since 1998, and am I just spilling my guts enough for you? Anyways, look, 2020 has been a very tough year, a lot of challenges for a lot of people, and I do like to say that I think nowadays it's more important than ever to make a daily concerted effort to really control what's up here, guys. I know it's been tough, but if you can let gratitude overcome any thoughts of despair, negativity, I mean, that is really what's going to get us out of this outbreak together. Stay connected with the friends, family in your life that love you, and love them right back, because that makes a difference, okay? I know that sounds cheesy, but it's so important, so freaking listen to me, all right? Really, I wish that I could be there with all of you. To the fans, thank you so much for your undying support. We really appreciate it. And what do you say? Let's have a good rest of the day, rest of the week. Have a good rest of the year. Signing out from Leon Kennedy. Love you guys. Bye.
Nicely done.
Yeah, that was a great
Very
message
nice.
from Nick. Yeah,
So
really
humble.
good. Yes, Nick's awesome. You know, I wish he could be here as well. I know he really wanted to, but he's doing good things for good people, which is, in my opinion, the better choice right now.
I'll call him later and yell at
Yeah,
him.
you know, it's as
How
much as
dare
we'd
you
love to
help
have him.
people?
Also, Stephanie should be joining us late. She's working as well. She should be finishing up something she's working on, and then hopefully maybe about the halfway mark or less, she'll come in a little bit earlier. She'll jump on with us. And Karen, unfortunately, found out yesterday that she's working on something that her time that she had to be there got moved, so she's going to miss the panel. She recorded a video as well, but I just got it, and the quality between her phone to my computer just went to crap, it looks like. So unfortunately I'm not going to play that right now because it's really bad. But it was a nice sweet message. So but yeah, so again, welcome everybody to the RE2 panel. Let's get this thing going, huh? Any questions yet? I don't see any questions in there yet. So let's start with Jolene, I guess. Jolene, what have you been up to since RE2 came out? I know you had the movie that you did, Attack of the Unknown. That one came out.
Yeah, I had a bunch of indies that I'd done kind of all come out at the end of this year, or like, you know, throughout the summer, which was really kind of exciting. And they're all up on you can see them on Amazon or Netflix or that kind of stuff. And I also I was Monica Marapaccini in the new Marvel Avengers game that just came out.
That's right. That's right. I did see that.
So,
Yeah, I did see that.
She was a villain, so she was really fun to play. Another really strong female character. You know, she's brilliant. And, amazing and multifaceted, and she was a lot of fun to play. So I've been riding that wave for a minute. So yeah, all in all, it's been a nice little. The last few months, even with COVID and stuff, have been really great. So yeah.
Yeah, you got a little crossover there with Resident Evil 3 with Jeff Sheen playing Captain America. So so that's kind of cool. It's nice to see you guys sharing more work. I mean, not directly because you weren't in 3 with him and he wasn't in 2 with you, but the Resident Evil family coming together for other projects. So what is there something particular about playing the bad guy that you like?
I don't know what it is. People ask me that all the time, and I'm not really sure. I think it's because I find villains very complicated. You know, it's, you know, you kind of they have all the attributes of just a regular person,
Right.
And then you have all this sort of like all these fun little complications, you know, that kind of make them make the choices that they do. Or I think their desires just seem a lot more dramatic to me. I don't know. There's something about those characters that are just a little bit more intense. So they're just more fun to play.
Definitely. You know? Well, David knows a lot about playing the bad guys. He's played quite a few in the series, and not only that, your anime and video game record is just amazing. You've done so many things. If some people should be fans, and if you watch some of the anime, they'll probably recognize you from the animes or some of the games. But you've played quite a few villains in the Resident Evil series as well. I mean, between Revelations Raymond, who was over the top, Conan O'Brien. That's what we all call him, right? And then kind of like the in-between, the good guy gone bad for the right reasons with Buddy and Damnation. And then
Damnation was such a fun movie to work on, and Buddy I thought was a really fun character to play.
They left that open too. I don't remember him dying at the end of that movie, so maybe he can return.
Possible.
Yeah, I mean he could control the liquors. That's pretty important.
Yeah.
And then in this one, you're not necessarily the bad guy, but you are the sleazeball journalist that we all love, Mr. Ben. And he gets his usual dose of Mr. X.
Yeah,
for sure. We're going to discuss that a little later.
Yeah,
the process of getting your head crushed.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know if anybody in the chat has seen this, but there is some behind-the-scenes footage of that scene with Ben getting killed by Mr. X. So, what was that like? Do you remember filming that? It's a pretty aggressive clip. So.
It is, yeah. You know, I do. I remember it was it was structured. Whenever you're doing stuff like that, you know, they always make sure safety first, and they have to, you know, do it in a specific way. But the team that we were working with were just, you know, consummate professionals, and they knew exactly what they were doing, and honestly, it freed me up to just be able to act. So I had a great time with it. You know, I love that. I loved working on that production, and honestly, like having been privileged enough to be a part of this franchise, you know, in a number of different variations, from Resident Evil Revelations to Damnation to you know, now 2. for me, it's just a thrill, and I love every minute of it. I've had a great time. It was awesome because and I remember this very clearly. We were in Tokyo working on Damnation, and we did all the motion capture in that. And I had been in Tokyo for probably about a month. Working on that movie, and then I came back. I got cast as Raymond Vester for the voice.
Yeah.
And came back, and immediately I literally got off the plane
and then went right back.
I went from the airport right over to the studio. Jet lagged and all. Went straight from the airport at LAX over to the studio to go record Revelations. So.
Yeah, that's crazy. Just like that. Yeah,
I love to be a part of it.
The Revelations was great. It was very well done too. It was an interesting addition to the Resident Evil canon and the lore behind it. Gave Jill another game, introduced some interesting new characters, some good new monsters. So yeah, it was a really well done game, as well as the movies too.
For sure.
And Chris, thank you so much for joining us. I've wanted to have you on here for a while. You are one of the few that's lucky enough to be in both Resident Evil 2 Remake and 3 Remake, so which is pretty awesome. And you. Really, you brought a lot more to Marvin than we had gotten before, and he was already a fan favorite. So now everybody loves Marvin. Yeah. I know we're all wanting to see like a DLC, just his story, but unfortunately we didn't get that.
Yeah. And that's kudos to the team, really taking the time to build the backstory of this character, because just the more you flesh out everyone's story and background, it just makes the game more visceral for everyone.
Right.
And being a gamer myself, I completely understand that. So no character is too small. Like I remember the smallest deaths in some of the, in some games that are spanning 4 discs. So I really understand how much a character can mean to a community. Yeah.
When you were signed on for 2, I know they were kind of making 2 and 3 around the same time frame. They had to put them out so quickly. But did you know when you signed up for 2 and you were playing Marvin that they were going to bring you back for 3 as well? Or was that something you found out later? Or was it the same time period?
I had no idea. I was aware that he was in the 3rd one a little bit initially, but there was no immediate talk about it. But I kind of found out last minute that they were going to throw in a little how he got into the RE2 police department, and that was a big joy for me. So being able to see how it happened, and where I got the bite from, all that stuff, it was really fun.
It's being a gamer. Did you play the originals from the 1990s?
For sure. I didn't play RE2, but I played many of the Resident Evils before. And also, putting on my fan hat, meeting David Vincent was big for me because I'm a huge fan. Grand Zhao. That was a huge thing for me finding out. So I was a big fan of his. But So all of this stuff, just like Nick was saying, I'm a huge gamer and just a huge fanboy of a lot of stuff.
Yeah. See, when the old games came out, they had Outbreak kind of explained what happened to Marvin in that one. He was bitten when they were trying to escape, so he stayed behind. I like what they did with this one, I think, a little bit more, because now it has, impact. The Brad situation, Brad biting him, that moment of Brad being a zombie but recognizing and speaking for a second, very well done. And your acting was just phenomenal in both parts. Really good. I saw another,
you just put yourself in this situation. Yeah.
I saw another question here for you. Miss Mystica donated $5. She says, Christopher Watson, how did you get the chance to voice act Marvin? And she said that she sees that you've done a lot of acting. So I guess how did you get the part for Marvin?
It was really kind of a serendipitous thing. I'd done a game previously before with the director of RE2, Tom Keegan, called Archangel, in which I was the lead of, and David was in as well. That's how I came to meet David. And he called me up, and he actually pitched me to Capcom, and they said yes, and they brought me on for it. And it was, you say simple, but that comes from a long road of meeting the director, working with him, building a rapport, and then coming on to this. And so that's the story of that. And I was just just talk about getting one of those calls, man. It was just a huge day for me.
Right. I can imagine. It's really exciting. Looks like we have a donation, another $50 donation from Mr. Nice Chai.
Thank you,
Mr. Nice Chai has been, by the way, I'll let our guests know, we've announced this in the other panels, all the donations from today are going to making this a in-person event next year, hopefully. It's the beginning of funds that we're going to save up for. So hopefully, we're taking what we get today, we're going to do some fundraisers throughout the year, and we want to book this as a live in-person event and bring as many guests as we can. So thank you, Mr. Nice Chai. You've been dropping it like crazy today. You're awesome. He says, "Hey Jolene, Emilio here. Just wanted to say thank you so much for signing my RE2 game case. Love your work. Totally honored to say I was in a short film with you. Thanks to the row for amazing platform." Well, you're welcome.
Short film. Now I want to know.
What is it?
I don't. He didn't mention the name of the short film, but his name's Emilio.
Oh, Amelia. Do you use Amelia? Okay, that's right. Yeah, we met a long, long time ago, and he was very young, and it's interesting that this just sort of rolled over into like all of a sudden I'm his favorite game. That was just a wild coincidence. And so yeah, no, he's super sweet, and his career is budding.
Yeah.
And it's so great. Yeah, we go way back.
That's awesome.
Emilio, thanks.
I was going to do the joke, Emilio, and I tipped his head just like that. I'm sure you hear it all the time. But yeah, that's pretty awesome. It's a small world, right? When you can work on a short film with someone, and the next thing you know, that person's playing one of your favorite characters in your favorite video game or something. It
is a small world. I think Hollywood's a lot smaller than people think it is.
Yeah, and definitely the Resident Evil community is a lot smaller too.
Oh yeah.
It's a very tight circle, and it's got a lot of people in it, but it seems like the new entries, the new ones come out with the new cast members, you guys are all very tight as a group. You have good relationships, your friendships are solid, so I like to see that, and it makes it interesting, because I know if I ask like Nick, or ask you, or ask Stephanie, hey, do you want to join this? Usually it's like, well, I'll talk with Stephanie, or I'll talk with Jolene. I'm getting a group joining us for it, so... but that's it's always fun. It's great to have you guys. Again, I wish Nick could be here, but he's got his project, and then hopefully Steffi will. So we'll see how that goes. Do we have any other questions? I'm
looking through them, but I'm curious. For all three of you guys, what exactly did you get as a backstory for these characters? Did they run you through how these characters, like take Marvin and Ben Bertolucci, for example, and the only reason why I don't say Ada is because she had a pretty big role in the original, but as far as Marvin and Ben Bertolucci, their roles were pretty short. So did Capcom give you guys any like backstory to these characters or how they wanted them to be portrayed? Or did you guys have a lot of freedom with sort of making, your version of the character? I guess we could start with Christopher and then we'll go over to David.
Sure, yeah. Again, working with the director, Tom Keegan, he's very story-driven, very narrative-driven. And so we sat down together, we came up with a story ourselves. We fabricated, which is something we often do in films or in theater. Just again, as immersive as you can make it, the more real you can be in the moment. You're not as calculated, and you can really bring those moments to life and flesh it out. So yeah, the director and I, Tom, we came up with an entire backstory about Marvin's family and my daughter and my wife, and how that is that's something that helps motivate you to want to stay alive in a zombie apocalypse. So
that's cool.
Just creating those kind of things. Yeah.
That's
get a little more story than we actually know about.
Right. It would have been nice to have seen. It would have been nice to have a scene of him sitting there, almost to the point of becoming a zombie. Maybe holding a picture of his family would have added some depth to that. I would have liked to have seen something like that. I'm glad that you said that, because now we get to know a little bit more of the backstory that wasn't presented. Except that
I have to find my book. I have the whole thing written down somewhere.
Oh, that would be nice.
Oh, awesome. And all the posters around the RPD precinct of how great he was as an officer.
Yeah, employee officer of the month.
Yeah. And David, you've played the three different characters. How much informed were you about their backstories before you jumped into these characters?
That's a great question, and I mean, much like Chris was saying, is Tom Keegan as a director is extremely story driven, and like Chris was saying, so I mean, we were very in depth about the characters, and he was very much involved as a director in the backstory and what was happening and what was going on, and so it was really kind of a process working with him as to what was going on. Now, for instance, for Raymond Vester, it was a little bit different. I was working, who was the director on that? I'm trying to think of who the director was for that. But at any rate, Raymond Vester was a little bit different. But what I will say about like Damnation, for instance, so Damnation, where I played Buddy, that he was one of the lead. It was the motion capture, but that was super in depth because that we had everything. The script for 6 weeks before we flew to Tokyo to go and work in Tokyo for 4 weeks shooting this movie. So that was very much in depth and had a lot more time with that one. I would say to really kind of go into that backstory. I acted opposite. Oh gee whiz, what's his name? Who was the guy, the lead guy?
I believe Jason Font did the motion capture for it.
Yep.
Right?
No,
yeah.
Jason Font.
But not for Damnation. Jolene, who was the guy?
Or was it Kevin?
Was
it was Kevin Dorman.
Oh,
yeah.
it was Kevin
Dorman.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot that he did Leon's. Yeah.
Yeah, and so with that, because we had so much time together, because we were overseas on location doing that one, we actually had quite a bit of time. And so Kevin Dorman and I, which a lot of our scenes were opposite each other and with each other, we had the opportunity to really delve into it. And then, again, working with the director, which was Kamiya-san, he was fabulous. And then I want to give a shout out to Alex from Bang Zoom. Alex, oh God, I've worked with him a million times and I've known him for over a decade. Alex, help me out, Chris. You've worked with him too.
I'm thinking myself. I'm horrible with names.
Alex Von David.
There you go.
Oh, okay. What's your name too?
For whatever reason, yeah, I know. But Alex Von David, who also as a director, was who worked, kind of alongside Kamiya-san, was immensely helpful because there was the Japanese English kind of
that barrier between the translations,
and so they both just did a fabulous job, and with the characters and being able to kind of pour that energy into the background of those characters and really figure out what was going on and what was happening. For me, it was just probably one of the most fulfilling roles of my life.
What's the creation process like? Because you went from a game that was made a while ago, before they adopted the RE engine, to a CG movie, and then using the RE engine for the newest game. What has each process of making those been like? What are the major changes, and what was that like, especially the difference between making the movie to the games?
Sure. Who's that question for?
You.
Okay.
David. Yeah.
I just want to make sure that I wasn't. So, I mean, the big difference is the advance of technology. When we were in Tokyo, it was my first experience working on a motion capture set. And doing that, and everything was like super manual, and we didn't see any playback. I mean, you could occasionally go in and see some of what you were doing, but it was interesting seeing the technology evolve over the course of whatever that is, the span of 8 years.
Yeah, it seems like
and just seeing that technology evolve from where before, even the facial capture that we did in Tokyo, Jolene, I'm sure you remember, where what we had to do is you had this thing where like literally you could not move your face, you couldn't move your head. And so what we did is we acted out the whole movie. And then when you finished the physical part of the acting, then you had to go do your facial capture, which your head was locked in like this and you couldn't move your head and act only facially, the whole movie over again.
Yeah.
So
that would be horrible.
It was really one of the most like unique experiences as an actor that I've had. I was like, that was bizarre. And it's not like 15 minutes of doing it. I mean, you're in there for 8 hours.
Entirely new session, a whole new taping session of the whole movie, but just your face without moving your head.
Without moving your head.
Horrible.
That was what got me. Because you couldn't move your head. And when you're acting, you're all over the place, but you literally had to stay like this. And then, the technologies that evolved so that it was less cumbersome, much faster to work with. And then, of course, now they've got the helmet with the camera that kind of sticks out.
The one that comes out.
And the microphone. You couldn't do full performance before, and now you do it all at the same time.
Yeah, they're recording the audio while you're performing, and then you just go do ADR if you need to, right? Yeah, that's interesting.
Technology has allowed you guys to act with limited restrictions. It seems like it was almost way more difficult to do your job back then than now. You can actually be free with it and embody the character and not have those restrictions like having your head locked in. And
we gotta
that was really fun. I liked how unique and different that was. I was like, what? But it was really, really fun.
It was a great experience. Like I loved it. It was just very unique. It was very different to have to those limitations, but be able to create that performance at the same time. So.
Right.
True.
I was fascinated by the technology. I'd never done mocap before. I didn't understand what it was, and I just found it just amazing. I fell in love with it. Then I was like, this is great.
Right.
Yeah. Cool.
Brad Duct Tape Hill.
Real quick, I want to take that same question I had for Christopher and David earlier, and I want to turn it around a little bit and pitch it to Jolene. So, you know, Marvin and Ben Berlucci had smaller roles in the original, and so I figured they would have to create all new characters for them for the remakes. But for you, Ada had a much larger role, but if you take Ada in the original and then Ada's portrayal on your side, you can see some of the similarities, but you really brought something original and unique to the character. So I'm curious, how much of Ada's backstory or reference did you have? Did you do the same as they did and basically create an all new character, or did you have you know, something more to go off of?
No, I had very little information to go on, and I kind of preferred it that way. I didn't know anything about Resident Evil when I got on the mocap job in Japan when we did the Damnation. It was my first foray into like mocap, and her character just sounded so interesting that I was really into that. And you know, and then even when I booked it, I didn't know who Ada Wong was. I didn't know that this was a game franchise, and I just remember kind of like Googling her, and actually everything that comes up is this like Ada porn, and I was like, my boyfriend at the time was like, "What are you doing?"
What
did I sign off on?
This is. So I kind of, you know, but you can tell by, you know, as an actor, what I got was all this like her dialogue and her attitude, and I had auditioned a couple of times already with that, like all those things that sort of make her, and they gave me the role, so I felt like I was on the right track. And then of course working with everybody, but I don't play the games, and so I didn't know what the story was. I still don't. When we came into RE2, every day I would get the script, and it took me a minute to click into the fact that everyone else knew what was going on, and I'd be like, "Oh, did you see what happens next?"
They're like, "Yeah."
So it was all very fresh and new to me, and maybe that's why I, you know, put my own mark on it, is because I wasn't really trying to recapture something else. Like, she's there, you know, she's there in the writing, and she's there, and her swagger is there. It's all in there. Her attitude. So I just rolled with it, and of course working with the director and all, you know, and the writers and everything, it all came together. So so Ada's fully fleshed out. I was just lucky enough to like you just jump on her back, you know.
Right.
It's awesome. So it worked out really well. It turned out great. All performances.
Yeah. Where's Barry actually comments about that. He said it's cool that you were the mocap for Ada in Damnation, but then you actually were cast as the voice and, you know, full body performance in the Resident Evil 2 remake. He says that's a huge coincidence. I think that's just smart casting. I think that's going with who they know that can deliver what they want and give them the performance they want.
I had to pitch myself.
Never mind. Scratch that. And then we got a $5.
I saw them casting for it, and I was like, remember me?
Remember me? I did things.
So yeah, thank God I saw it come down. You know, no, I don't think that.
Incoming. There she is. Stephanie. Her audio is still connecting. Let me hit this $5 from Brad Duct Tape Hill, which had him. Yeah, he had that awesome cosplay. So he said, just have to give a shout out to the ever amazing Jolene, Maddie, and I send hugs and can't wait to see you again at a future convention.
You too, Brad. All of you.
1 second.
Yep.
Steph, we can hear you. I can see you.
Awesome. I'm glad Stephanie is here now. Yep, there she is.
Oh my gosh, I can hear you all now.
All right.
Yay.
Hey.
Am I too loud? I hope I'm not screaming. Am I blowing people's ears out?
Nope.
No,
you're fine.
No, you should be fine.
No, you're just fine.
Ow.
I know, right? Everyone's like, my ears are bleeding. I'm so sorry I'm late. I'm so glad I could make it, though. Hello, everybody.
I'm glad you're here. You know, we kind of just gone around and had a few questions here or there. We talked about some things that, like, Jolene has done since the game came out. And I know you've been really busy. You've taken on Twitch to a whole nother level as well. So what have you been up to since RE2 came out?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm currently on a project right now. It's my first day on something that I can't talk about, obviously, because everything is always secret.
Right.
And what else has happened? If anyone is a fan of Paladins, I'm their new villain, Vora, you know, very different character from the usual. what else? I'm like trying to things that have come out, things that have not come out in my head real quick. Okay.
What can I say? What can I say?
Accidentally. Let her talk. Just let her talk.
I know, right? Don't shut her up. Let her say things. Also, if anyone's a fan of Trials of Mana, I'm Fairy in Trials of Mana, so I'm literally in people's heads. I don't know if anyone's played that, but so that's a little different. And I'm trying to think if anything else is out yet. I don't know.
Well, I know you're still doing from some conventions. Like you were just next to me 2 weeks ago. We missed each other. We were close. But yeah, you were in town, but you're still going to some conventions. Did you? I'm assuming you had fun at Six Flags. So
I did. Oh my god! So you were at Six Flags then?
Yeah, Nick invited us out.
Oh, that's right. Nick was telling me. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So yeah, that was super fun. Except I had a little too much fun. And I went on all the roller coasters, and I literally screamed. Like so much so that like my voice was hurting for the next like 2 days. Like,
yeah, it sounds like you guys had fun. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, sadness.
I wasn't invited either. So.
Oh, great. I'll just see myself out.
Yeah, but I saw both you and Nick were in cosplay again. You guys look great. I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad you made it today. It's good to have you. This is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. No, it's so great to be here. So everyone who's here, so I want to say hi to obviously everybody, residents of Evo. I think it's amazing that you guys were able to put all of this together and make it happen. It's the very first Resident Evil convention, which I think is so awesome. And it's so great that you guys know that, you know, there is a great fan community that wants to see this, you know, and being able for you guys to put this together and represent us all is really awesome and very much appreciated. And then obviously my RE2 cast. So Jolene, I know you're there. And Chris, you're there too, right?
Yep.
Hey, yeah.
Yep.
How are you, Stephanie?
Yep. And then we've also got David too.
David.
Yes,
David,
Lucci.
David, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Awesome. Oh my gosh. I love it. It's so great because this is some cast members that I feel like we haven't all had a chance to hang out with and see and stuff too. So that's amazing. That makes me super excited.
Yeah, I was you know, I've been blown away by the amount of support that all of you have given us for putting this on. And it's just been overwhelmingly positive, getting the feedback from everyone, you know, and coordinating this has really, it's been an amazing experience for me. Something I'll never forget, obviously. This is big. But I have to say this is pretty awesome, like you said, to unite cast members that we haven't had on the channel before, like bringing Chris and David on and getting surprised like this morning when Heidi jumped on with Joe Whyte. You know, it's been a pretty amazing day so far. It's been pretty awesome. I think we set the bar high for next year. Hopefully next year. Yeah.
That's so cool though. Yeah, I mean, I know when you guys reached out and were like, oh yeah, so we're thinking this, and this, and I was like, oh my God, you have to get these people there too. You know what I mean? Like for me, like I'm a huge fan of Chris's work as Marvin. Like, I mean, you know, with David, I didn't get to unfortunately interact with David in our sessions, you know, but with Chris, you know, I got to interact with Marvin, and I'm such a big like lover of Marvin's character personally. So much so that when I Twitch stream, I do not ever kill Marvin. Marvin forever lives. Even if he's attacking me, I'm on like my last breath, I'm gonna die. I'm like, no, Marvin never dies.
You gotta let him rest. You gotta put him to rest.
Kill me. I'm not gonna kill him.
That transformation scene, every time you walk back into the main hall and you have your interactions with Marvin, it's just so good. I got like really, your acting was phenomenal. I loved Marvin's character. It's such a great impact as the player to have like just that connection with that character who was only in it for a short amount of time, but it matters. That's the whole thing. He matters.
And I would say that the connections were really genuine and personal to the characters, because I would act with Stephanie, and it would be very particular to how our energy was in particular. And then with Nick, it's completely different. So it wasn't like we were trying to guide it a certain way. It's just what naturally came about. And so I'm glad people can really see that.
Yeah, definitely. We have a $3.99 tip from Nostalgic No Scope. Says, Christopher, you're badass. We need a Marvin DLC, which I think everyone agrees.
I second that.
And then,
I'm so ready. I'm so down. I'm ready to do it.
There was like a fake one that like people thought was real.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
looked real.
It looked
it was
good.
the print that it was the print that you have, Chris, of like Marvin going down the hallway and stuff, and it's set up in the corner, end of watch.
Right.
And,
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had
so
hoped
for
that was
those out
real.
there who don't know what end of watch means, it's when a police officer dies on the job, and so I was just like, oh man, is this real? And I was hyped for like I think 2 months for this, and someone was like,
Yeah.
dude, are you an idiot? That was fake. I'm like, damn it.
Well, it wasn't fake. It was a promo image, and it was a really well done promo image, and somebody slapped that over the top of it. And because so many people want a Marvin DLC, we're like, yes, I even if you know it's not real, you want it to be real.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Listen, let's make it happen, guys. I think there's a lot of story there.
There is.
Explore. Yeah.
Erica Severud donated $4.99, says, hello guys, you guys do a great job in all the Resident Evil games and movies that you're in. So thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you.
Jolene.
Yeah.
So Jolene, obviously, I don't get to interact with in the game, but I get to interact with Jolene in real life. And I just have to say that I know people are very oh, Leon should really be with Claire. And they're like, oh, Team Cleon. And then they're like, no, Ada all the way. And there's this weird, to me, it's a hilariously goofy kind of competition with shipping people together. But I will say that as me, the other woman, or as Ada, the other woman, I don't know what the relationship that people want to create there. Jolene is awesome. As a human being, I love her. As Ada, she was phenomenal. Her performances were great because I did get to play, the Leon side. I wish that we had interaction in the game, but I will say as a person, I love her.
And I think funny, when I didn't know what was going on in the game, when I started coming to set, I thought that Leon and Claire's character, I thought they were the romantic interests. I was like, oh, they're they hang out all the time. I thought they were I was like, oh, we have a thing. I was just completely clueless. I see the fans making
funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I thought when Stephanie said that, she was going to say it's silly to ship, and then I thought she was going to throw a jab at Jolene, and it was just going to go down.
I think Leon's just in love with himself and his hair. That's all that matters.
Hair takes the most time.
It's too damn pretty for anybody.
Yeah. David, I'm curious about. We were joking about Raymond's character design. Did you have any input or any suggestions? Anything about that?
Make him look as much like Conan O'Brien as possible.
Well, they nailed it. Perfect. Yeah, they nailed it. And then in Damnation, do you do a lot of accents? Is that something you naturally do?
I actually, I'm a voice actor.
Yeah.
And so, as part of being a voice actor is doing a lot of accents. But what's so funny is that for Damnation is that I had to do a Russian accent, which is the one accent that I suck at. and I'm totally serious. And so I had auditioned for it, I don't know, 4 different times. And they kept on calling me back and calling me back and calling me back. And then finally, I hear from the producers and they're like, okay, we really like you for Buddy. You've already auditioned for it 4 times, but now we want you to do it one more time, and this time do it in a Russian accent.
Okay.
I was like, what? So I had to go back and literally I went onto YouTube and I was looking up Russian accents and then just practice a Russian accent, and luckily I got it.
Right. You should have talked to Karen. She's a dialect coach.
Karen's
yeah.
Karen's beast, but David, I know what you're saying. Those Russian accents are the hardest, especially if somebody starts playing around with another accent in the middle of your session, and then you're like, don't
you lose it.
Once it gets in, I can't get it out.
And
it's crazy.
And that's the thing I've known about this, because Dave, I've followed your career for a long time because you're in some of my favorite games and the characters I play. For those of you who don't know, you've been martial law from the Tekken franchise for
a while.
I just read that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's my main character.
I love law.
Tekken too. And then I know you were T-Hawk.
Holy shit! Wait a minute, you're Marshall?
Yeah.
I thought Tony was fanboying, but now Stephanie's fangirling too.
From Tekken. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Dude, I had no idea. I'm sorry. That was one of my first games I ever started playing on the PlayStation. Was Rayman and Tekken 2. Dude, amazing. Okay, sorry. Continue.
Stephanie just fangirled.
Other fighting games, you're especially the difference between Jin Kisaragi and Hakumen from Blaze Blue, the Blaze Blue and the Cross Tag battle games he's in too. it's like the vocal range is just like all over the place. I think like what was one of the other ones I really like I said T-Hawk from Street Fighter. Oh yeah, congratulations on getting Richter Belmont, like one of like the most famous Castlevania characters.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually got to reprise my role because I had played Richter Belmont years ago, really like close to a decade ago, in a couple of versions of that game. And then when he got brought into Super Smash Brothers, I was doubly stoked because like I had because I also do Robin from the Fire Emblem franchise, and so for that character, when they brought that dude into Super Smash Brothers, I was over the moon. But then like it was like 2 years later after they had brought in Robin, then I got called back in, and it was a similar setup where you don't know what's going on, and there's all these dudes from Nintendo there, and they're like, yeah, man. So Richter Belmont, they immediately, they didn't tell me what I was there for. They just played over the speaker, the die monster, that whole scenario that he says. And I'm like, no way. So I was very stoked. Yeah.
We got a $20 donation from Mr. Nice Chai again. Emilio, he says, special thanks to Stephanie. I requested a cameo for my friend who had a newborn baby back in March. His friend is Anastasia and her baby Isla. And it meant everything that she took the time to wish her well. Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Emilio, you're amazing. Thank you.
Very sweet. I remember that cameo actually, because it's funny, like the different kind of like, I guess, situations or reasons that people request them and stuff. But I do remember this one specifically because I was like, oh, and congratulations on your little baby. I got a little ridiculous with it. Yeah.
That's good. I really like the cameo, and I love what Dave, what Streamly's doing, offering this chance.
Yeah, thank you.
I think all of you,
Emilio, if you're watching, you can get anybody's autograph here. Just simply go to streamly.com/that actor's name, and you can get all the information and whatever print you want to have autographed. It'll show right up to your front door.
Yep. And you can watch them sign it live over Instagram or wherever they're doing Twitch. The signings. Yeah, Twitch. There's a little one-on-one. If you go to Instagram, you can do that live feed back and forth where they can see you as well. So you get a little bit of personal moment. The stuff you would get at a convention that you can't do online. But David's company is genius, and he jumped on this a long time ago, and now it's definitely paying off. So it's great, and it's a good way to help out the cast as well. So definitely, we'll post that link here before we head out. We've got about 10 minutes left, so I want to kind of go around and give everybody a chance to give a parting message to the fan and plug your social media so people can follow you and go check out the signings and stuff as well. So we'll start with Jolene.
All right, yeah, well, I'm up on Streamly, so I'll be doing a live autograph session tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time in California on Halloween, so that should be really fun. Also, of course, my Instagram's Jolene Andersen, and I think my Twitter is Andersen Jolene. Yeah, what else? I've got a few films out. If you guys want to head out to Amazon or Netflix, I've got a film called Attack of the Unknown. It's kind of come out on hard copy too. You can kind of find it everywhere, and that's like a really silly, fun alien sci-fi.
Yeah, it's definitely the great really 80s B horror movie style. Just over the top. Yeah.
And get like a Mickey's or something, and like call it a fun night.
And it's Richard Grieco, right?
What's Richard Grieco?
Yeah, Richard Grieco. Yeah.
Amazing. And a movie called Where We Disappear. I think that's still on Netflix, and that's a bit more serious, like a drama of like women in a gulag camp. It's really dark. I do a lot of really dark films. And then a movie. It's a Western. Well, I can't believe I'm blanking on it because it's my favorite. I can't believe I'm doing this. The Last Beyond, and if you're in the mood for just an epic sort of Western, and that Montana is as beautiful as it is, then check that out. And I love you guys, and thank you for being a part of this panel, and I loved chatting with our fans today, and more of this.
Definitely. All right, David.
Yeah, well, just thank you guys so much for putting this together, and thank you guys who have all showed up to join us here today. And so, yeah, I mean, you can follow me on my social. I'm the most active probably on my Twitter, which is is at David Vincent VA for voice actor. So everything is at David Vincent VA. And then what I will also say is keep an eye out for, if you're an anime fan, I have a show that has just recently been released called The Seven Deadly Sins.
Yeah.
I think it's the fourth season or third season. And my character is what is his name? Oh, Estarossa. And Estarossa is a really creepy dude, and he's super fun. And so please watch that show. It's awesome. And then, check out Streamly. You can, I created it honestly so that is a way to connect actors and fans in a compelling way. And to me, one of the coolest things is being able to get something cool, autographed and signed. So check it out. Any favorite actor that you've got, it's streamly.com/that actor's name. And then you can join them on their live stream wherever they're at. So it can be on Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, wherever they want to be. And then and you can do it while they're live. You can say, hey man, I want to get that print, and it's going to show up to that actor live, and you can get that, and it's going to show up right to your front door. So thank you guys so much for having me on here, and check out my Insta as well, just at David Vincent VA.
You know what's great about Streamly as well is there's no lines.
There's no lines.
Yeah. If you've been to a convention, you know how bad the lines can get. Sometimes you're waiting there for hours.
And I'm going to say this was one of the nicest things that somebody had said to me, and one of the fans had said to me. He's like, I have a lot of anxiety when I'm at a Comic-Con to go and stand in that line, and it just makes me so anxious. And this is such a great way for me to be able to engage with my favorite actor and then get that autograph, and it shows right at my front door. So
right.
It's been a really neat experience, and a lot of people are getting having a good experience with it. So
definitely. Christopher, I guess we'll scoot down to you. You're like beneath David now, so.
Sure, yeah. Well, first of all, I want to thank the ROE network. You all, this has been a fantastic opportunity, and I understand how hard these Zoom connection meeting things are, and this has gone very seamlessly. And so I really want to give you all your just due for doing this, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, appreciate it.
David. Oh, absolutely, David with Streamly. You can catch me at streamly.com/Chris Watson. This platform that David has created is a really great way for us to connect with fans, and I'm always looking for that. And so I'm really excited to start that journey with him and the Streamly platform. Thank you to the fans for joining. You can find me at my Instagram, where I'll be signing tomorrow at 5 p.m. some items for Streamly at Christopher Michael Watson, Michael with a Y, and my Twitter, C Michael W, my first initial, middle name, and last initial. And thanks to good things, Jolene, David, Stephanie, and just the whole ROE community.
Awesome. Yeah, it was great having you, and we're definitely going to have the one-on-one here sometime in the immediate future. It's well overdue.
Sure.
Well overdue.
Looking forward to it.
And Stephanie, we didn't have you for very long, but we're glad you're here. Do you have anything you want to say before we end up shutting this one down?
Yeah, so I'm going to get real nice up close and personal here. We'll try and change this. First off, I look like I'm Poison Ivy. Like, I feel like I'm Poison Ivy with this backdrop behind me, but this is what the studio looks like. I want to say, okay, so as far as everything goes, I know that I wasn't on for very long, but I'm going to do my live autograph signing tomorrow. During that time, I will be on Twitch as well as on Instagram. So if you guys have questions, feel free to ask your questions there. My Streamly, where you can get I've got some prints, I've got some posters, I have this awesome duck of Claire Redfield.
I saw that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Isn't it fantastic? So Tubbs does this official duck that's all like cosplay Claire, and for me, I thought it was hilarious because are we allowed to cuss on this one or not? Cuss on
go
this
ahead.
stream?
Yeah, go ahead.
Clearly, Claire says fuck all the time. So I was like, I named it, like the title of it is like, I'll get you, you ducker, but it just felt appropriate that I should have that on my Streamly. So if you want to check out any of that stuff, you want anything live, autographed, and just chat and hang out tomorrow on Halloween at 4 p.m. Okay, so that's going to be on Streamly. So we know it's streamly.com/my name. If you don't know who the hell I am, I'm Stephanie Panisello. It's a really long name. If you need to, just IMDb it. I don't know, check out Resident Evil 2 and my name will show up there. Stephanie Panisello. And then if you want to check out my Twitch, for those of you that are big fans, one of my favorite lines that Claire says in one of her interactions that she has with Sherry, when Sherry looks up at her and she's like, why are you doing this? And I love that Claire's like moment and kind of origin there really sums it up with simply because I care.
Yeah,
so
and that's true.
I thought that was so simple. So anyway, so my Twitch handle then is because I Claire.
Oh, I love it. That's smart. Yeah.
That's
Christmas is
very punny. If you guys want to go ahead and check that out, it's because I Claire. For all other social media, it's going to be under my name. I'm the only Stephanie Panisello in the world, so you won't find one that isn't the right one. And yeah, so check me out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. But as far as the live goes, it will be on Twitch streaming and on Instagram, which is Stephanie Panisello or because I Claire. So
awesome.
Either way, I want to thank you guys again for doing this. I'm sorry I was late, but I had such a great time. I'm so glad, you know, some of the ROT, I'm messing this one up. Resident Evil 2 cast is here, and y'all got to hang out with them. And thank you guys so much again. And yay for the first Resident Evil Con! First ROE Con!
Yep, we're hitting the home stretch.
Yes!
One thing I want to point out real quick, does that not look like Claire down in the Umbrella Laboratories right next to the Ivy room?
Yeah,
like,
right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me hit these donations real quick before.
Intentional. I don't know.
Right?
No,
It
like,
was. She planned it.
Just
the universe plans things for me, like without even trying. So,
so we have a $5 donation. Well, it's $5 Canadian from Jesse Stepman. Says thanks everyone for great games and memories. And Alpha One Fire donated €5. That's euros, right?
Yep.
Okay. Says sorry it's such a small amount. Just want to say you're all amazing. So keep being amazing. No amount's a small amount. Any amount's well appreciated. You know, so it doesn't matter. You can give us a penny. We'd still take it and be happy. It's gonna go in the pile for next year. So, and then this one, Robotic Neutronic Symbolic. I love that name. Donated $50. Said my favorite people. You were amazing. Stay that way. JJ, keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling.
Yep. All right. So I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. We've got the next big one coming up is the Baker family reunion. We've got most of the cast from RE7 coming in, and it's been a while since they've hung out, so this ought to be a nice, fun reunion for all of them. It's going to be a big one. It starts in about 30 minutes. It's going to run an hour and a half, and then after that, we've got Raj Ramayya, who was supposed to be in the afternoon. We moved him to the evening to accommodate some of his schedule changes as well, and then he's going to do a couple songs because he's a musician first, and he's going to answer questions about Dead Aim. He's actually going to perform the theme song from Dead Aim because he wrote it, so that's pretty cool. And then you're going to see us again for the end of it. So, all right. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the Resident Evil 2 panel. Thank you to our guests. Thank you to the team, as always. And we will see you back here soon in about 30 minutes or so.
PG, JJ, Tony.
Thanks, guys.